Welcome to the Horr-Gasm podcast, the show where the serial killer isn't coming for you, you're coming for them. I'm Nick, this is my co-host Ali.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us wherever you are.
I can't with you tonight. We have our intros and outros written down on a sheet, obviously, and I just look over and I put my T on top of Nick's paper, and it's just like shredded at the top, so it's like holding it together. It's just so sad.
It's so good. There's a big hole, but it's not where I need to read. That's the important part.
That's true. I just saw you kind of holding it together, and I was like, oh no. Hey everybody.
So professional.
Yeah, this is how we roll.
Yeah.
I just have to comment on the world around me. That's like Jessica. Poor Jessica. Every time I text her, usually it's like commenting on something stupid. Like, hey, I saw this the other day. Is that weird? Am I weird? She's just like, yes. Yes, Alana, you are. I'm like, okay, just double checking. That's how most of my scenarios go. Oh, Lord. What a day. What a week. What a life.
Yeah. Yep.
Yay! Well, this week, we watched a fun movie. I was really excited for it last week. It was Girl on the Third Floor. And so we thought for Talking Chop, we'd do some classic haunted house movies. Talk about it a bit.
There is a few.
There are, yeah.
There are a few.
Yeah, it's one of those classic sort of trope movies.
It's a horror trope, yeah.
Exactly.
The haunted house.
Yes.
Do you stay in the house?
Yeah. Does the house have haunted inhabitants? Is the house self-haunted?
Why is the house haunted?
Why is the house haunted? Is it on an ancient, indigenous burial ground? Is it
Was there a
flop house?
Gruesome murder? Like there's
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to go about it.
Yes, exactly.
And you know what? This movie did a very original.
I was gonna say it was different than anything that I'd seen.
It's new for me. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
We've got this topic up. We'll get into it more when we do the review.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was interesting. But I've watched quite a few haunted house movies recently, I guess, within the last year-ish.
Haunted, possessed.
Yes.
And occupied.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I thought we'd talk about some. Yeah. So the first one that I definitely wanted to talk about that is very closely related to the movie we watched today was the first season of American Horror Story, which I was talking to you about when we were watching it.
I haven't seen it.
And you haven't seen it, yeah.
You
should, again, even if you just watch the first season's the best by far. I've talked about that before on here, but definitely the first season. After that, I could probably rank them, but definitely the first. And it's, like I said, very closely related to this, where the house itself is haunted.
Yeah. And
basically what happens, spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen it, it's literally the only twist in the show. But the house, when you die in the house, your body doesn't actually leave the house. And you can kind of like you stay there, and when you try to leave, the house teleports you back into the yard. It's
kind of like, that sounds like a little bit The Shining, because you get
right.
The curse, and it sounds like Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Because the two main characters, they die just outside the house.
Yes.
And they end up back there and they can't leave.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
They try to leave the house and they end up on Jupiter or somewhere.
Right.
With sandworms.
And and it's kind of like, sort of like in this movie where you think the neighbors are coming by and visiting you, and then all of a sudden the neighbors start being in your house more uninvited, and you're like, well, that's weird. So they're changing locks, bolting windows, and people are still getting in. And it's kind of a problem. But, I don't know. It was really good. It was, like I said, the best season of American Horror Story. Very closely related to this. And that's why when we were watching this, I was like, well, this feels familiar. When you start, changing locks and people are still showing up. And I'm like, oof, this is very... They call it the murder house. And real haunted house, by the way.
So was the house.
So was this
in
one.
The Girl on the Third Floor.
Yeah. Interesting. And it's also reminds me of The Haunting of Hill House, which just came out last year, I think, 2019. Yeah. And that was another one where the house itself is haunted. Like the rooms are haunted. But again, ghosts in the house that make you murder, they don't really make you murder. They make you commit suicide. So you'll stay in the house.
Ah.
Yes. So
it's a lonely house.
it is. And so it wants this certain family to kill themselves and stay in the house, which is like kind of the plot of Haunting of Hill House. And then the other one that you haven't seen that I love that we're watching in a few months is Monster House.
I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was marketed as a kids movie, and I think it came out in like 2006 or 2007 or something. But it is phenomenal. I love that. And I watched it and I was like, this is really fucked up. Like, it creeped me out and I was like, there's no way.
Well, is this that claymation type movie?
It's not claymation. It's
or stop motion.
I think it's stop motion.
Because I think it's the same guys who did Caroline.
Yes.
Okay, I think it is.
Is it?
I'm going to look it up right now.
Perfect. Well, I love it. I'll talk about Monster House because I love it.
Because I've seen Caroline, and that was a very...
Coraline was fucked.
Yeah.
We should add it. I haven't actually seen the whole movie because I couldn't make it through because I was so scared. How about that? I wonder if 2020 Alana could make it through it.
Probably.
So Monster House is basically these three kids who are kind of like... It's very It-esque where they're kind of perceived as losers. There's this old haunted house that nobody wants to kind of go near. And I forget the exact plot of it, but I think one of the kids, they lose a toy or something. They lose something important in there. And they want to go get it back. And so they have to go into the house kind of and confront all of the demons and shit in there. And, it's just, it's very not like It, where it's like, let's go confront an evil alien space clown. It's like, hey, this house is kind of weird. Maybe we should check it out. And they do like very kid-esque things, not like It. I find the kids in it are very adult-like, kind of their decisions and stuff. But this one is very like juvenile, their decisions. And it's perfect. And yeah, I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies, especially like for, I don't know, kids movies-ish kind of.
Yeah.
And it's also nice that they're not like, it's not Disney, so they can get away with a lot more, like, there's a lot of innuendo in it that when you're watching it as you're an adult, you're like, I don't know how I didn't pick up on that.
That's almost like Shrek.
Right.
Like when Shrek first came out, it was like, oh, it's a nice kids movie. As you watch, like, oh.
Right?
That's, good one.
Well, I remember even growing up watching even like Grease. I didn't understand. And my sister and I, we would sing like when we were young, we would like sing the Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee song.
Yeah.
And think that was fine. It's not, I don't think. And Bring It On was another one that's like, oof, I don't know if I should be watching this. When you watch it as an adult, you're like, this is bad. And another one that I was going to say that we watched actually earlier was The Grudge. That's the haunted house E1.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
The Grudge is a haunted house, but it's also the Grudge itself.
Yes, exactly.
It's more of a entity of the murder.
Right.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
It's a different take on it. So
yeah.
I can't find Caroline on Wikipedia, so I give up.
Perfect.
Looked up Monster House, and there's no connection, but I think there has to be.
Yeah, I don't even know that, honestly, the studio. I'll look into it more when we actually watch it, but yeah, it was a good one. But yeah, The Grudge was like, just from watching it, it was kind of sort of not, again, there's other elements to it. It's more the family, I think, that's haunted, not so much the house, but...
it's just the events that happened that created the Grudge and
right.
the haunting of the house.
Exactly.
And again, that's how things happen,
yes.
For a haunted house is...
Right.
It's possessed by the spirits of those who were brutally killed.
Yes.
Which is, again, it's a haunted house trope.
Yes, exactly. And the one that you brought up was Poltergeist,
Yes.
which I haven't seen, but we're watching it at some point here.
Yes, we are. And
Yes.
I've seen the first two. I haven't seen the third one.
Mm-hmm.
I've owned the remake, which is like a redo of the first one. So pretty good.
Awesome.
So yeah, and it's almost the iconic haunted house movie.
Because it's a 70s one, isn't it? I'm sure it was the 70s.
Early 80s, I think.
Was it?
I think.
Yeah. Because it's a early horror movie. Kind of, it's very akin to, what's the Exorcist. It's one of those where it's like obviously different horror movies, but two very iconic ones when people say, you know, horror movies that kind of made horror.
Yeah.
The Exorcist is always one. Poltergeist is very... I thought that they were around the same time.
Poltergeist is also known as being one of the cursed movies.
Right.
Because the young actress in the three of them passed away when she was still a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't help that near the end they have skeletons. They actually used, to cut costs, they used actually skeletons. Not fake, not props.
What?
Real skeletons.
Yeah. Why? What?
Cheaper.
Ugh.
Instead of paying someone to make up skeletons to take time, let's just go and find some skeleton cadavers and use them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Crazy. There's actually on Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland, no big deal. One of the skulls, they have a bunch of skulls and skeletons. One of the skulls is actually real.
Oh, cool.
They used to use real skeletons to cut costs, and because they looked real.
Yeah.
And then there's...
They are real.
Because they are real, yeah. And, you know, Disney's all about that realism. And so then they were like, oof, this is actually probably a problem. And, like, with, you know, Disneyland's been around forever now, and they don't keep as well as plastic. Yeah. So they had a problem with that, so they switched them all out. Except for one. One is still used as, like, a headboard above the bed. If you ever go on the ride, FYI. Disney's
Next time I go, I'll definitely check that out.
Definitely, yeah. And then the other one that I wanted to talk about real quick, because it was almost identical to this movie, was House. And it was the 1980s
And I haven't seen that one yet.
It is so similar. Like, so incredibly similar to this one. It's a guy that moves into a new house trying to start a new life. And when he's renovating the house, he starts to see things, see people, things chase him. His neighbor's like, WTF. Oh, she wants to lay with you. The neighbor's like, WTF is going on? Because he starts like shooting the walls and stuff, this guy. And there's like an army ghost. There's a bunch of different ghosts that like attack him kind of. And it's, I think, the end of the movie. I don't remember. I watched it a while ago. And the house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. That was the thing. Yeah. So, which is a trope.
Kind of the thing for like Poltergeist.
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually knew that about Poltergeist. I've never seen the movie, but I know that part of it. Because that's another thing that is ripped on a lot, right?
Yeah.
So.
And again, it's been parodied.
It has. I know The Simpsons did one.
Yeah,
not Family Guy. Did Family Guy do one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, because Stewie's sitting in front of the TV, isn't he? Or maybe it was American Dad.
Scary Movie 2.
Yes.
Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
Another movie that I just reminded me now was The Haunting. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It has Liam Neeson in it. I think it's Liam Neeson.
Sure.
It's basically what the movie, the plot of Scary Movie 2 stole.
Okay.
Where they go to a house, and it's like the experiment, and it was creepy. When it came out, it was a creepy movie.
It's called The Haunting?
The Haunting.
Huh. Nice. I'm going to write it down. Because I'd like to see it. Love me some Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's in it. I'm sure he is.
Sure. Fun.
85%. 90.
Ooh.
Sure. It could be, again, that 10%.
Like those odds.
Could be off.
Awesome. And
there's just you got all the for when it comes to horror movies, haunted houses is like one of the most well-known tropes.
Yes, it's like haunted houses, possessions, ghosts.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Aliens.
As much as there's the slashers, the
Yes.
killers, the monsters, the demons, all
Mm-hmm.
those type of movies with the tropes.
Yeah.
You have the haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, almost everyone's exact same idea.
Yeah.
House, haunted, but everyone takes a different take.
Yes.
And they all work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, like this one we watched, the Girl on the Third Floor, it takes a different twist on it.
Yes.
And it works.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm excited to talk about it. So let's get into it.
Well, if I had one more you wanted to...
I don't.
Oh, I thought you...
That was it.
In that case, hey, let's get into reviewing The Girl on the Third Floor.
All right, so like we said, this week we watched Girl on the Third Floor. It's a 2019 movie directed by, I don't know because I didn't write it down for some reason.
Give me a sec. It is directed by Travis Stevens.
Perfect. Good job, Travis. You did a good job.
And he also helped write it with Paul Johnston and Ben Parker.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'm on the ball here. Where are you?
Yeah, I am not on the ball. And Nick, second week in a row, I heard about this movie through you. So how did you hear about this movie?
I stumbled across this, I think, on just one of the random videos that pop up on YouTube.
Okay, like on your For You page or whatever.
Yeah,
like just in the beginning, trending or whatever.
Yeah, it just popped up like, ooh,
sure.
What's this Girl on the Third Floor? I'm like, ooh, CM Punk. I like him. He's got the whole wrestling thing going on.
Right, yeah, because you like wrestling. So
yes.
that's what... Oh, I thought that might have been how you heard about it. Does he even wrestle anymore? Or he's done?
Yeah.
Ish.
He's done.
He's like The Rock done?
He's done for now. He's doing right now opening like a talk wrestling show on Fox.
Oh, interesting.
I think his UFC career is done.
Yes, I agree with you.
He's branching out now into the whole movie thing. He's written a comic. He's a big comic fan.
Well, I think he did pretty good in this. Like, you could when he shared scenes with more seasoned actors, you could tell just a little bit that he was a little bit more new at acting than some of the other actors. Like, but scenes by himself, I thought he did really good.
For example, when he's just motoring around the town, he goes to the bowling alley, which is dead. The guy, when he's talking to
Gary.
He's talking to Gary. He has
fucking Gary.
The most blank expression. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Punk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can act a little more. He's just like. So,
yeah, it's
If that was like the one part, I'm like, you lost me.
Yeah,
you
for
lost
sure.
Me, buddy. You lost me here. But then he picks it up again.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, like it's and he mostly acts by himself. Like he's mostly by himself.
He is.
But
and that's Cooper.
I was just gonna say, except for good old Coop.
Yeah.
He's such a good boy.
He is.
But
And you know what? He's not even in the credits.
Rude.
I know. I was like, oh, who plays Cooper? What's Cooper's real name? Nothing. So, you know what? Cooper's Cooper.
Yeah.
That's Cooper's name in the movie, and I'm guessing in real life, because, yeah.
He was a good boy. But again, every time, the same thing that happened last week. Every time there's a dog in a horror movie, I die inside a little bit, because I know what's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
I want to watch a horror movie where the dog lives. The dog's the final girl.
Why hasn't that happened yet?
I don't know, but I need it to happen.
We need like the final pup.
Yes.
Just the main character, she sacrificed to save the dog, or vice versa. The dog doesn't sacrifice, but
yes, exactly.
Just hits the switch and the trapdoor drops and the killer gets killed, or something like that. Like that's.
Yes, we
totally,
need.
Not going to happen, but
we need more of that.
We need some of that. We need some good doggo saving the day.
Yes, but yeah, it was a good movie. I actually enjoyed this one, so I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah, so remember I showed you the trailer.
Yes, you did.
And you even showed Tim the trailer.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, that looks good." I'm like, "I know."
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna review it later on. Oh, good. So.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I'll go through a quick run of the characters here. Dawn, like we already said, is played by CM Punk.
Whose real name is Phil Brooks.
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah. And Liz, his wife, is played by Trieste Kelly Dunn. Woof, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, that's
Okay, perfect. I was just like, maybe I wrote it down wrong, but I didn't.
No.
Sarah, who's the friendly neighbor. Is that what we're going to call her for now?
For now, friendly,
she's
overly friendly neighbor.
Overly friendly neighbor is actually her real name is Sarah Brooks, so same name. Ellie, who is the pastor across the street, is played by Karen Wadich. Milo, who is Dawn's best friend, is played by Travis Delgado, and the nymph, in quotations, is played by Tanya Kay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, it's a small cast, but they all do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's most of it is basically in the house.
It is, yeah.
So it's not
almost
like
the whole movie.
Yeah.
Except for the bowling alley scenes, I think. That's about it.
There's not a much, there wasn't a lot of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
But it made it more enclosed, made it felt more
like you're trapped there too, almost.
Yes.
Hey?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the whole point, is it wants you to feel almost like trapped, suffocated. Like even when at the end of the movie, when Liz is like, "Oh well, I'm just gonna leave," and it's like, "Well, it's not that easy," and I'm like, "Huh, that's true."
Claustrophobic. That's
yes.
What
yeah.
It's got a very claustrophobic feel to it, and
yes,
and it works.
It does.
Works very well.
Mm-hmm. And it's I would like to watch some more claustrophobic movies because that really bothers me.
You would love. Well, you'd hate, but love Underwater.
I've heard that about Underwater, and
it has a bit of early scene where they're crawling through rubble, which is just like a tomb. Yeah. I was watching. I'm like, Alana would have a hard time watching this.
She would. Oof. Yeah. So we open in the house. I think we start right off in the house, don't we?
Yeah, we see. Basically starts off Dawn, CM Punk's
yes.
character, just kind of opens the door and he walks in. He's like, "Well, time to start."
Here we go.
So him and Cooper, his puppy Cooper, and
such a good boy. He's like a German Shepherd. Hey,
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks German Shepherdy
He's a mix
for sure. Yeah.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
So we introduce to Dawn. He's a deeply flawed ex-lawyer who's kind of run away because we find out later on he scammed some old folks out of their retirement funds.
Yeah, he did some bad stuff.
Yeah.
It's like some Elron level shit.
Yeah, he's done some pretty rough stuff. He's a very, very, very flawed character.
Yes, yeah, and you find that out almost immediately.
Almost.
But he opens when it opens. He's like basically walks into the house and starts just immediately noticing shit is wrong.
Yeah, he's like, well, this is a mess here. It's a mess here. So he's like doing a bunch of renovations because he was bought his house.
Yes, for him and his wife is pregnant. Yeah. They want to have this nice family home.
Yeah.
Like one of the first things he does, which is really gross, is in the living roomy area. Kind of, I think there's like a big black tarry spot. Basically. Yeah. And he just like puts his hand into it. Like just reaches in.
Who does that?
Who does that? And just like starts pulling stuff out.
It's like goop. Black.
Yes. Goop. It's gross.
And then he goes in the next room and there's a nice puddle of white junk, whatever it is. We'll explain this later on the floor. And we have to rewind because you're like, is that a condom? I'm like, I missed it. Rewind. There's a condom. A nice used condom in the middle of this puddle of white, clear fluid. Which
this like viscousy.
It's exactly what you think it is.
It's what you think it is. Yeah.
We'll explain more as we go along the review.
And he's like,
cleaning that up. He's like, ugh, gross.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a montage of him cleaning.
Yes. Patching stuff.
Renovating.
Yeah.
And it's weird because every orifice of this house leaks either white kind of clearish fluid, blood, black stuff.
Yeah.
You name it, and it comes all the time through the wall sockets.
Yeah.
On the faucets, trying to wash his hands, trying to have a shower.
Yeah, like the
It's
ceiling
good.
lamps, like just out of cracks in the wall.
It's
Like it's weird.
yeah, it's very.
It just like leaks down the walls
It's a leaky
sometimes.
house.
Yes. Ugh.
And it's got these really weird portraits. Like this one mirror has naked people having sex on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's.
One of the mirrors has like these little. It looked like flowers from afar, but when they zoom in a bit, it's basically a vagina.
Yep.
Yeah, just like little vagina buds all around this mirror.
Yeah, we kind of midway through we find out. Oh, hey, this is the whorehouse.
Yeah, it was like an early 1900s brothel.
Like 1909.
Yeah.
Yeah, brothel.
Well, I made the joke in the beginning, like, oh, this must be the orgy room, and like, listen, I wasn't wrong.
And I called too like that. So there's the classic token nipple lamp.
Yeah.
So.
Ugh, everybody's got a boob light in their house. Like, I have one in my room and the kitchen. If you ever want to take a look.
Yeah, that's a boob light.
That's a boob light.
Yeah. So he's doing more work, and he's FaceTiming his wife to say, she checks in with him at the morning and night.
Yeah, a couple times a day. Yeah.
And I think second night he moves the bed from the living room because he's going to have a little
happy, fun self time.
He's going to beat off.
Yeah.
He misses his wife, and he's got nowhere to really do anything with. And his dog kind of shows up, and Cooper spoils the mood. So he drags his bed upstairs to the bedroom and locks Cooper out. And he's like, oh, time pals, little, what time?
Alone time. But throughout the first and second night, Cooper is constantly barking at things.
Oh, barking and like looking. There's shadows.
Yes.
And people
walking
by really quick through through like the background doors, and yeah.
And that's one thing that I brought up that this movie does really well, is just setting an atmosphere that something is off.
Yes.
And it's not like, people standing behind him at all times, but he might be walking past and there's like feet in a mirror or something like that. Or he might be standing and you just see a glimpse of a blur of something. And it doesn't outright tell you anything. Like, you have no idea what's going on until close to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And which I like. Like, I like being in suspense. I didn't think they explained it well enough, but it was good how they built up to this horrifying thing going on.
They do explain, because I think this second night the ceiling in the bedroom just collapses.
Yes.
And there's a balcony above the bedroom where you can basically just look down and watch.
Yeah.
And observe the bedroom and all the goings on. He's like, well, that's weird. Mm-hmm. And he shows his wife through FaceTime, and she's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, we're showing people. She's like, no. So next day, we're introduced to his neighbor across the street, Ellie.
Yes.
Who is a pastor.
Yeah.
And she kind of rings his really old, crappy doorbell.
Oh.
And
yeah, it's a bad doorbell. It's like not like that at all. Actually,
it's a very old kind of creaky, grindy. It's an old, crappy doorbell.
It's almost like you don't realize it's a doorbell until she rings it a couple times, and then you kind of get that distinctive ring. Yeah.
And she comes with booze and
always
a drink.
Yeah.
And he kind of, oh, you're a nun. She's like, oh no, I'm a pastor. I'm Protestant.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, oh, whatever, that's perfect. She's like, well, are you a believer? He's like, no.
Yeah.
No, not at all. She's like, oh, well, good luck. Best bet, get out. Leave your nurse house, take your wife, take your child, take your partner.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Go. Get out of here. He's like, you know what? I'm good here. I like this place.
Yeah.
And then doorbells rings again. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. And it's this young girl. And they start flirting a bit. And
yeah, this is when he's like fixing the sink and he gets black junk all over his face. And he's shirtless. CM Punk is shirtless for part of this movie. And that's not bad. He's got some nice tattoos. He's a cute looking dude.
Oh,
So, yeah, she's like, notices him, and she's like, hey, I like to hang out in your backyard. And he's like, okay. Well, I bought this house now, so...
This is my house.
Yeah, just so you know. And as soon as that started happening, I was like, this feels very Murder Housey. Because that's exactly what happens in Murder House. Because it's just like all of a sudden this kid just starts showing up and they're like, but why? It's like, oh, I thought this house was abandoned. I just like to play here. And they're like, yeah, but we moved in now. Sorry. So she kind of tries to like...
She flirts hard.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he finally... You can tell he's like, yeah, you're cute. I like that. And from his... when he was looking at some of the porno content, it was, choke me daddy, fuck me daddy.
Yeah.
It was very, very... college girl kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and that's what this Sarah girl is kind of portraying. She's the
right.
next door college girl who's dresses slutty. And,
yes.
And he gives it.
Yeah.
I think he
gives her a quick tour of the house that ends in the bedroom.
Yeah, it starts with he's looking out the window and she's playing with, I don't know if it was Cooper or a different dog. He's like, hey daddy, can I come in? He's like, yes, please.
Yeah, all right.
And right there should have been like a key because she calls him daddy.
Yes.
And that's what
she refers to him as. It's kind of creepy.
But that was from the porno he was looking at.
It was. Yeah, you're right. So, I didn't connect that. I thought she did because the first time they talk, he talks about his pregnant wife is coming. No. So I thought that's why she called him daddy. Or it was just a kink, which I don't judge.
Because the house is aware.
Yes.
And so he kind of brings her in and shows her around. And yes, the bedroom's like, what's going to show me? He's like, well,
yeah.
And he closes the door on poor Cooper. He gets left out.
Yes,
and he's
again.
Like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're married. Cooper's trying to be the good, helper dog.
Yes, because when he starts kissing Sarah, Cooper starts barking. Yeah. He's like, nope, not ruining this for me again.
Yeah. Close the door, and then we see in the next room there's someone spitting. And
yes.
And Cooper he's trying to bark. He kind of finally moves away. And he sees a girl with a very weird face, quick cut.
Yes.
Spinning, and then next scene.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that. But I remember it's so unnerving because you can hear it and see the movement, but you can't actually see anything.
It's this dog is trained very, very well.
Yes.
And he stayed in his spot long enough to I was hoping come on, Cooper, move and see what is that.
Yes.
And just a bit, and you see just kind of legs and a bit of a face.
Oof. Yes.
Face. And that was it.
That's it.
And then we go next day. Dawn's buddy Milo shows up.
Yeah.
To help do some work, and he draws tools and kind of where are your tools? He's like right there, and he's like a drill and X-Acto knife.
Yeah.
And a hammer.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. He's like, that's it. Fuck.
Yeah. Because they have to redo this whole ceiling that fell down. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and they do some work, and they go out that night to go kind of party a bit. They go to the bowling alley, which Dawn was there a night or so before, just to meet and talk to Gary.
Good old Gary.
Yeah, and he's like, "You gay? No, I'm married. Gay people get married. I got a kid on the way. Gay people can have kids." He's like, I'm not gay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, okay, well, bad stuff happens to straight people in that house, so.
Yes, he gave him a warning.
Yeah. And he's like, okay.
And as soon as Dawn comes with Milo, he was like, that the wife? He's like, no. It's not.
I forgot about that. That was good. That was good.
A funny scene. It's a good bit of light humor.
Yes.
And whatever. And then next morning, Dawn wakes up and he kind of stumbles down. He's like, oh, geez, you're already working. I need some coffee. He's like, yeah, your assistant made it for you. He's like, what? And there's Sarah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he kind of threatens.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Get the fuck out.
Yeah, get away from here.
Throw you the fuck out.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's fine, whatever. And Milo kind of picks up, what's going on here?
Yeah,
hey,
like, well, everything good, guys?
I kind of screwed up by screwing her. It's like, hey, I'm good friends with your wife. I gotta tell her this. He's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a scumbag here.
Yeah, and I know I fucked up, but I'm trying to stop fucking up, so...
Yeah. If you want this to work? If you want to work this out, be here when I get back with tools. If not, then fine, fuck you, and he leaves.
Exactly.
And Milo, he's kind of moseying around a bit, and he gets led downstairs.
Yeah.
By Sarah. She kind of shows up. She's like,
he's like, doesn't he hear a noise or something? So he goes to look downstairs, and then she's there.
Yeah, she's down there. It's like, oh, what are you doing down here? It's like, oh, I'm just hanging out. And she's like, I got something here for you. It's like, what? And he walks towards her, and she smacks him in the head with this hammer.
Yes.
And this is some good practical effects.
Ugh.
You got a good his skin is just
flopping
down over
into his eye. Yeah.
I thought it was eye at first.
Yeah.
But no, it's just right above.
Ugh.
It's a good impact above the eye.
Yes.
And he kind of slowly starts crawling away, trying to get away. She just slowly stalks him.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to go up the stairs. He kind of collapses, and she looks up.
Yeah.
And there's the weird, creepy...
Well, we don't see her. We're from her POV.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We got the POV of the nymph.
So you think that you're just we're just watching, because as you do in this movie, you're just kind of, obviously a silent observer. But then Sarah looks up directly at the camera and says, so are you going to help or what? And then...
We do see her. We see her very briefly. It's a quick cut. Yes.
Mm.
At the top of the stairs. And she asks, are you going to help or what?
Mm-hmm.
And then you see her kind of bring the hammer up and then down and cut.
Yes.
To... Dawn, he comes
back. Yeah.
He's like, Milo, nope, Milo's not here. He's like, great. So he kind of, he throws him a text quickly saying, hey, I hope we're still good. We gotta talk about this, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep fucking up, but I do. And, I'm gonna make it right. And I'm sorry, and I didn't mean what I said.
Milo cell texts back, all good. He's like, okay, good. And he goes to sleep.
And we're sitting there like, Yeah. So... obviously, somebody's using Milo's phone.
Yeah. So Dawn goes to sleep, and during the night we see Cooper does a little bit of a wander.
Mm-hmm.
He heads downstairs, and he runs into Sarah.
Yes.
And she's like, want to play, puppy?
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to the morning where Dawn wakes up, and he hears this weird banging and clanging. And he goes to the house looking for Cooper. He kind of already assumes Sarah's done something.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And he comes to the dryer,
mm-hmm.
which is very reminiscent of My Bloody Valentine. And he kind of already knows, Cooper's in there. He kind of puts his hand over his face like, okay. And opens it up, and Cooper is a very bloody mess.
Yeah. It's pretty gross.
And one of the worst vomit scenes.
That was horrible.
Just kind of, he's...
It's like green goo. It's like they had some extra goo lying around the set. They're like, so if we put green food coloring...
I'm sure they had the bananas, put some food coloring in with the bananas, chew it up, and then spit it out, kind of like you're gagging.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. He gets sick, and he calls
the police. Yes.
We've got the second... We forgot to mention that Milo, he's a black guy, and the policeman's black too. So we got some diversity in this token black guy who gets killed. And the cop is kind of blowing him off.
Yeah. He's like, well...
what's her last name? I don't know, but I'm sure she has one, but I don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop's like, well, until you find more evidence or more, we can't do a thing.
Right.
And he leaves.
And, Dawn is saying how, he's on my camera because he installed some security cameras when weird shit started happening. And all that it shows is Cooper walking down the stairs while he's asleep.
Yes.
That's
right.
it. But there's no evidence other than that, so...
Yeah, he changes the locks, he puts cameras in, and just shows Cooper.
Right.
There's no other evidence.
Yeah.
And,
it's like, of all places to put it, why wouldn't you have put it where weird shit's been happening? Like in your room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't do smart things.
And so the cop says, well, there's not much I can do, and leaves, basically.
And also, I think he starts, he runs into Sarah that night.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's like sitting down having a drink, and Sarah comes to
and he kind of
talk to him, I guess. Yeah.
And she's like, well, that sounds like it's from her. She's like, well, I got you a present to make up for it. Like, oh, really? What is it? He's like, it's in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
She goes in the kitchen, and from behind, smacks her with a hammer, back of the head.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Georgia right. And he brings out this bed sheet and tape and tapes her up and takes her down to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already got this all ready to go.
Yes.
And he puts her into the wall and he's going to board it up. He's got lye, puts lye in her and some other sort of...
Looks like flour or something. Yeah.
And he gets a phone call from his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so he runs upstairs to kind of hide. He's trying to hide his house because he's got blood on it. And she's saying how, Milo sent me a text, says we really got to talk.
Yes.
And Don, he just no-sells it. He just immediately becomes angry.
Yes.
About being confronted with this. And, I'm busy. I want to get this one. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Click. Hangs up. Goes back downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Body gone.
Yeah.
You got some footsteps in the flour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of follows her up around. And there's nothing except for a hole in the wall making sounds.
Exactly.
And and then I keep mentioning this too. It's kind of funny. He makes a hole.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts his, connects his camera to his phone so he can see what's going in there. And as he's putting the camera with the light in,
yes,
the house moans.
Yes.
Like it's being penetrated from drinks. I'm like, whoa. Did I just hear that? You're like, yep. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
this is a house that isn't only possessed, but it has that whole alive feel.
Yes.
Where it is watching at all times, and anything that interacts with that house kind of comes back to him.
Yes. So then doesn't he start like swinging on it then with his sledgehammer? And every time he hits the house, it moans.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Also, I forgot to mention this. This house keep popping out marbles.
Yes.
Either from a light switch that looks like a vagina, or
that was a thing. That was a thing.
And it's marbles, and he eats one for some reason. He puts his mouth and swallows. His dog Cooper eats one.
Yeah.
And they're just everywhere. They keep popping up.
And they roll all over the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, it kind of leads him to the attic too.
Right. You're right.
What the heck? But yeah, so he starts making holes, and there's a flesh. Well, no, he puts the camera in. So he puts the camera in, and he sees the face of the nymph.
Yes.
And now freaks away. He's like, whoa, what the heck? Whoa. And he starts banging, breaking holes into the wall to try and find it. And as he's breaking holes, there's like flesh and mass behind the wall, the drywall.
Ugh.
And he's reaching in there, pulling out. And he kind of falls down to the bottom of the wall. And he breaks a hole, and he finds Milo's head.
Yes, Milo's head pops out.
Yeah.
He's like, hey. Hey, girl, hey. It's your wifey.
and he hears, the house is giggling, and...
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
There's just, like, crap going on. And so then, isn't that when he runs upstairs then to the room?
Nope, he gets a text message from Sarah.
From Sarah, yeah, you're right.
Actions have consequences, with her giving him the finger. He's like, you know what? Yeah, that's what he gets chased to the top floor by the nymph. Mm-hmm. And the marble rolls off, under the door, going to the attic, mm-hmm. into his foot. Yes. And then he's like, ow, and it goes into his leg. Yeah. And he grabs the X-Acto knife, and he starts cutting. Yeah. He starts cutting, like, all the way up his leg to his knee. Yeah. And then the marble keeps going up his body, up his chest, into his neck. So then he, cuts his neck. He cuts his carotid artery. And he's, backing up into near, the staircase in his room. Yeah. And the marble's, moving up and goes up to his eye. He's freaking out. And then the marble comes out of his eye, and he's like, oh, thank goodness. And then, 10 marbles roll towards him. Yeah. And then we cut. Yeah, there's a bunch kind of go into him. He just screams. Yes. And we cut to his wife, Liz. She's popping by for a surprise visit. Yeah. That last phone call must have bothered her. So she's like, I'm going to go see him. Me and baby are going to come say hi. Exactly. And she comes in, she's like, it's a mess again. She's looking around, she's looking for Dawn, can't find him. And she goes to where the holes he punched through. Yes. And people like to reach into holes in this house. And do they? They do. Do they, Nick? Oh, yes. And it's a gloriful time. And so she pulls out this paper, this newspaper article saying that this house used to be a whorehouse.
Brothel, yeah.
She's like, Crumbs like, ugh, no. And she meets Sarah.
Yes.
And Sarah, she kind of starts chatting with her a bit. And yeah, she kind of, well, who are you? And she's like, well, I'm a acquaintance of Dawn. I'm like a gopher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, whatever. And doorbell rings. So she goes and meets Ellie.
Yeah.
And has a chat with her. She's like, it's a second. So she goes and gets tell Sarah, they'll get the fuck out. Sarah's gone. And she goes back to Ellie and says, why don't you come in? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
Let's talk outside.
And I didn't realize this until after kind of everything. Ellie never goes in the house. She only will sit on their porch.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we'll explain why later.
Yeah, but I didn't pick up on that until she said that. And I was like,
Neither did I.
huh.
Yeah. So she talks to Ellie for a bit and then goes back inside and she's trying to wash her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And like a bunch of more goop comes out.
Yes.
And then she hears some sounds upstairs. So she goes upstairs to the attic.
Mm-hmm.
And also when she goes back in from talking to Ellie and kind of confiding, and she kind of tells her back at the church across the street, you aren't for a tough time.
Yes.
And she comes back home, and there's a big party.
Yeah, there's like dudes in suits walking around.
There's some girl with a bunch of glitter on her, and she's like, "You're here for the big show? It's already starting." She's like, "Huh?
Yeah.
It's going on upstairs." And she goes up, and there's a bunch of guys just drinking and watching from the balcony going to the bedroom.
Yes.
And she goes in, and she sees this Sarah, do a bit of a dance. We see everything but boob.
There's a little bit. There's flashes of boob.
There's flashes, which it's very teasy. You don't see full fronts or nothing.
Nothing. Nope.
Just side boob, under boob, everything around them, like besides the nipple.
Yes.
And also earlier when Dawn, he kind of breaks through one of the walls. There's these pictures drawn by like we think is a girl. And there's a doll. And they're both all sexual. And there's the guy with the crow mask.
Yes.
Which was also on the mirror. And back to Liz, she looks down and sure enough, there's the guy with the crow mask comes out. This big ripped guy.
Yeah.
He's got this switch.
Yes.
And he starts smacking Sarah. And Elle's like, stop it. And
because Sarah kind of like doesn't look like she's enjoying it.
No, but she also looks annoyed. She's like, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah,
stop it.
That's exact. I've never heard a more accurate description.
Yeah.
Of like, I hate this, but I'm getting paid. It's probably what I look like. It's probably what I look like at work.
Yeah, it's a very sadistic show.
Yes.
And then we kind of cut to Sarah in the present day, and basically tells Liz, what happened. The brothel owner killed her and left her body in the house.
Yes.
He also killed the young girl who was staying there, who drew all the pictures.
Yes.
And dumped her body in the train tracks. They found her. They never found me.
Right.
And everyone loved me whenever I came in. But when I disappeared, no one cared. And
no one questioned it. Yeah. There was,
And that just that was where the grudge, like the haunting started. And so Sarah, she tries to, she has the exact knife and tries to chase Liz. And chase her into the bedroom. And she's, hold the door, she kind of holds it shut. And she hears the door open, the other door go into the attic. And Dawn shows up.
Yes.
And he's all cut up and sliced up.
His legs and his arms are just, and his face, everything is just cut.
And he kind of explains, I'm sorry, I messed up again, but I can change, give me another chance. And Liz is like, no.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good, actually.
And so Dawn takes the X-Acto knife and starts cutting from the top of his head down his face, down the middle.
Yes.
And he starts pulling at it. And I'm like, ooh, this would be a cool effect. And Liz pops up.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes, Sarah pops out.
Was wearing Dawn's skin.
Yeah, like a suit. And she's like, oh, thank goodness. Like, I thought you were going to forgive him there for a second. And then she just stands there and just cackles.
Yes,
and Liz is like, ugh.
I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Runs downstairs. And
she's about to go out the door. And then she notices that this like the nymph is kind of like crawling out of the wall. Like
And that's a really cool fact.
yes, it is.
It's a hole in the wall, and you got two hands kind of reach out, and then the wall becomes like plastic. And it kind of spreads it open, and she crawls through, and she's got this really deformed face.
Yes.
There's some blue thing or green thing coming out like her
eyes. Yeah, and then she has like teeth on her head.
It's like she has no eyes. You don't see eyes or nothing. Just a big like a gash.
Yes.
With teeth growing out of it. And she's kind of wrapped up in towels and tied up with rope.
Yes.
And Liz goes and basically hits her in the head with the
hammer.
And kills her.
Yes.
And Sarah kind of just walks over and she's like, you can leave now. You're out of here.
Yeah, you're good. You did a good thing.
Just as she opens the door, there's Ellie outside. And she's like, what's going on?
She's like, hey.
Basically, she tells her that, I knew it was haunted.
Yeah.
But the rules are that someone must be coming in and wanting to confront it.
Yes. Like I can't tell you about it because that's cheating. Yeah. You have to figure it out on your own. And she mentions when she's first talking to Liz that, like, I've seen people live here happily, but I've also seen people leave here immediately.
Yeah.
So there's, if you can confront it and defend yourself and you're strong, then you'll be fine. But so but the part that I don't understand is that, like, obviously the families who did okay, like, nobody's taken Sarah out of the wall before.
They never looked.
Okay. But Ellie never went up to them before.
Yeah, Dawn failed.
Right.
But
Liz
she was given a chance, and she found the body. So she kind of tracks down the dead body of Sarah, which was in the drywall and like the cupboards or.
No wonder she was so pissed at Dawn, because he tried to do literally the exact same thing.
He did.
Ugh.
He used her, and then.
So do you think the house, like, possessed him a little, or?
No, I think he, like Milo and like everyone else, he became part of the curse.
Okay.
And when they found the body, the curse of Sarah was lifted, but he's still part of the haunted house. The house is still more or less haunted with other creature, other spirits.
Right, because it's just weird that, like, the coincidence that he also killed her.
Yeah, I think by doing that he failed
and shoved her in the drywall,
absorbed into the house.
Okay.
But because they found Liz and they gave her a proper burial, basically her curse is lifted. So she's free. She's free of the house. No more Sarah.
Yeah.
And then we see, like, 6 months later, we see the house, because I was assuming that Liz is gone. She's done. Yes. She's walking out. Nope. She's living there with her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of walks into one of the rooms, and she's like, "Oh, you can't sleep at all, and we'll get you some food, and we'll go for a walk to the park later."
Yeah.
And she leaves her room, and we got the baby there, just kind of just
hanging out,
and we look up, and there's this like a vent in the ceiling going to the attic, and a marble drops, and another marble, and a third one. We're like, "Oh, she's a jerk."
Yeah.
And
I'm immediately nervous.
And then we see a hand come through, like a face.
Yeah.
And there's Dawn.
Yeah.
It's like, there's Daddy's little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And cut.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was the girl on the 3rd floor.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun watch. I enjoyed it.
I did too. It was really good. When it was described, it was like, this is a great movie up to its very gory ending. I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool. It wasn't that gory.
No, it wasn't. It was nothing that we hadn't seen before.
I thought it'd go a little more out there with the effects, but the nymph was a pretty good.
It was very good, yeah.
The smush head of hers is pretty good.
Yeah.
All the cuts on Dawn were really well done.
Yes. Milo's head, we already talked about, was awesome.
Oh, that was such a good.
Yes. Yeah.
Poor Cooper.
Yeah. It's just flashes of him, and that's all we needed.
Pieces.
Yeah.
All the black goop and all the oozing and bodily fluids.
Bodily fluids coming out. Yeah.
Basically, because it was a whorehouse, it was a brothel. Like all the kind of we basically called out all the fluid, all the clear fluids coming out is semen. It's dumb.
Yes. Yeah, because the house like gets pleasure from these horrible things that are happening. So.
And in one of the funnier scenes, Dawn's trying to have a shower, and nothing. Like it's nothing's coming out of the faucet. for the shower, and he's like trying to play with it, and then he gets a good face full of
House
haunted
jizz.
house jizz.
Would
He
you
gets
like a bottle of a finest house jizz?
He gets a facial. I
Oh.
laugh like, oh jeez, this is a very interesting movie.
How do you keep your like a straight face when that's happening?
Ew. And it's again like when I said before, this is a very different take because
yes,
I don't remember seeing a haunted house that was a brothel
no,
or a whorehouse.
no,
And that's a good take.
yeah, it's interesting,
and that made this very unique, and I liked it.
It's that very like psychosexual sort of thing. That's very, but again, very tasteful.
It was
incredibly tasteful. I thought when they're like, oh, brothel and stuff, I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna be very heavy on the nudity. But there's none almost.
Hardly any.
There's like flashes of side boob nipple, and that's it.
And even when Dawn is Snapchatting his wife, and leaving a little boob act, she shows him just bra. Yeah,
just a bra, and just like that's all you get until you finish the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. But then there's also a scene where Dawn is having a dream and he's fornicating with, he thinks it's his wife, and then it switches to Sarah, and then it switches to the nymph. Yeah, like it's just all three of them. Yeah, it goes through all three. But it's very tasteful. It's like very slow. You don't see anything.
It's heavily implied that she is riding him and he's having a good time. And of course, she gets to go. He gets told, "Choke me."
Yeah.
Like in his little porno that he was watching.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is tasteful.
It is, yeah. Tasteful. Just because for what it could have been, they could have done it so hardcore, and it could have kind of lost what makes it interesting, I think. If you go too heavy-handed on nudity, but it's with anything, if you go too heavy-handed on nudity, gore, swearing, you lose part of, like, the grit of the movie almost.
It becomes more of a smut show.
Yes, exactly.
And it wasn't going for that.
Exactly.
Which it works.
Yes.
If it did, it would have been an entirely different movie.
Absolutely, I agree.
And they would have had to do things a lot differently. They would have had the nymph be a lot more sexualized.
Yes.
Because we were having this talk beforehand. This one character named Sadie.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out who that was.
Yeah.
I think you're right that it was the young girl. Mm-hmm. But then you thought then also the nymph was the young girl.
Yeah, I'm still...
I don't. I think the nymph is just the sexual...
Like just like like the house embodied, sort of? Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to go through it in my head, and I'm just trying to... The one thing I didn't like about this movie is I don't think it explained everything enough.
No.
Like, I wanted a bit more backstory. I get frustrated when there's not enough, because when all this crazy shit's happening, you kind of want to know. And I get, like, Sarah's whole revenge thing, but then why is the house...
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
How the guy with the mask, after he whipped
yes.
Sarah, he comes upstairs to the attic, and you see the girl in the little alcove.
Yes.
And he gives her marbles.
Yes.
And it's implied the marbles are coming from the girl.
Yes.
She was killed too by the owner, who I guess is the guy with the mask.
But she says that he, like, basically was raping this little girl too, wasn't he?
I think...
Because that's what she kind of says, because he gives her marbles and then starts, like, rubbing her back and sits beside her.
And also some of the pictures that the girl drew were of her and him.
Naked.
She wasn't naked.
Okay.
He was always naked.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was just creepy.
Yes.
And there's also sexual acts where there's a guy sitting there with three on top of each other.
Yeah.
Of just bums. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, exactly. So she must be, like, what I always think is that she's drawing what she's seeing, right?
Yep.
And what's happening, sort of, to her. And, yeah, it's kind of sad, but I thought that the nymph might have been, like, this young girl, Sadie, I guess her name is, embodied, but I don't know.
I think it's just the sexualization of the house.
Yes, which I could totally understand. But again, it's kind of open to interpretation because they don't explain it.
No, and they don't. They
yeah.
Really don't. You'd think that was the girl Sadie being killed as well would be more of a haunting.
Right.
But I think because her body was found in the train tracks, it wasn't as a thing.
Yes.
Unlike Sarah, who was killed and basically thrown in the wall.
Yeah, because I just like, and I get it's very grudgy in that way, sort
Yeah.
of almost. But like American Horror Story, the murder house is the murder house because like basically a serial killer embodied the house, like he was killed in the house,
Yeah.
and his soul became the house. That's why the house murders in quotation.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's sort of what they were going for. Like Sarah was murdered in the house, and now she kind of took over the house.
Well, also it was a test.
Yes.
This has been like going on since like 1909.
Exactly.
It's so long.
Yeah, like over 100
Different
years.
people would come in. The single guys would come because they'd be tempted by Sarah,
Right.
and they'd have sex with her, and then she would be, you didn't save me. You didn't find me, just fuck me and chuck
Threw me away. Yeah.
Where families they would be more accepting, but they wouldn't find the body. They're
Right.
Like, yeah, it's okay. We're more of a family. We're not gonna. The guy's not gonna sleep with her, but she would always be around.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, whatever. And then just have nothing to leave. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it doesn't explain a lot or enough, but
Yeah,
for what we got, it works.
absolutely. Yeah, it didn't. I didn't think not until the end was I like, oh, like I kind of wish I got more because they just gave you enough throughout that it was enjoyable. That you kind of kept you guessing, but just enough where it's not like I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
You kind of always knew that something was going on. So yeah, I don't know. What would you rate it, Nick?
A 3.
Yeah, I
It's a good
agree.
3.
That's exactly what I would too.
It was a great twist
Mhm.
with the whorehouse and being a brothel. Punk did a great job.
Absolutely.
His wife, actress wife, did a great job.
hmm
Sarah did a great job playing the.
She
the
was
slutty-
really good. I'd say she was probably one of the best parts
I
of the
agree.
movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because she plays all the different emotions so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
her
do.
And, her and Gary.
Yeah,
It was just
Carrie was the bomb. He's like the bar owner I want to have.
and Milo did okay.
Yeah.
He was
He was very fleeting in it. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. I would give it a 3 as well. I think it did really well. Atmosphere, the music was really good.
Yeah.
Whatnot.
I think Punk had a bit of say in the
Influence?
music.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, the music was awesome. The atmosphere, the camera angles were good. They were thoughtful the way that they did it, sort of. And I like there's lots of POV shots. There's security camera footage. Like they kind of give you a mix of everything, and it's really well done. Yeah, I just where I wouldn't like I would tell people to watch this and kind of feel it out for themselves.
the practical effects.
Yes,
are fantastic.
really good.
They really do a good job with those.
Yeah.
Again, it's nothing too over the top or overly gory, but it's another that's
Absolutely.
like when that marble's going through his body. He's trying to paralyze.
Yes.
When it gets to his eye underneath, there's a good lump,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking that reminds me of Total Recall.
Yes.
When all trying to get the tracker out
Out
of
of
his
his
head through his nose.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's such a good effect.
That was a good movie. I've already talked about my love of Arnold on the podcast. Spare you it again. But yeah, where it would lose points for me would be the kind of ambiguity at some of the characters and origins. And that's just me personally too. It might work for other people. I need a little bit more. And some of the acting sometimes was just a little like,
A little stiff.
yeah, exactly. But overall, great movie. I would totally recommend it to people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do for Ichabod's Kill the Flick?
Well, I think Ichabod's Kill the Flick has to be Milo because it's one of the only ones that we actually see.
And it was a pretty good effect.
That skin flapping down.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And also, I forgot to mention, while watching, Icky got involved
Oh.
because Cooper was barking, and Ichabod was, no, I'm not having this.
Mad.
I'm going to bark back at the TV because
Yeah.
I don't want my friend Cooper to die.
And she usually doesn't do that, so.
No, she either sleeps or does something else.
Ichabod sleep? No.
She snoozed right behind her now. But no, she was active in this film.
Yes.
And even when Liz was coming around looking for Cooper, like, oh, treat
Yeah.
Cooper. He's like,
Yeah.
me, I want some of that treat.
Yeah, she looks at the TV and starts barking.
Yes,
He
please.
can't have it. He's not alive. Oh, yeah. So that was Girl on the Third Floor. And next week, we are watching one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm already biased. We are watching Sleepy Hollow.
Yay.
And this is how Ichabod got her name, was because of my love of this movie.
Oh, this is a movie dedicated to Ichabod.
Dedicated to Ichabod.
And I remember seeing this on DVD, I think, just as it came out to DVD. I saw it with some friends from school.
Oh, I own it on VHS. Isn't that sad?
Nice. This movie was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a creepy movie. It's got a great cast.
Johnny Depp. Isn't it Christina Ricci?
Oh, I love Christina.
And
I love that girl.
I know. I love Johnny Depp and
it's got Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
He doesn't even talk. He doesn't say much of a word in this movie at all.
And the dad from Pirates of the Caribbean, isn't he one of the guys? Uncle Vernon?
Very quick character look.
Okay, good. I'm sure Uncle...
Nope, Jeffrey Jones.
Yes,
Jeffrey Jones,
you're right.
He's in it.
It's been about 10 years since I've seen it.
Casper Van Dien is in it.
Yes.
Miranda Richardson.
It's such a good cast. This is, we just talked about, actors and acting. These performances in this movie are fucking unreal. The acting in this is sublime. And, the plot is so good, keeps you guessing the whole time.
We even got Christopher Lee.
Yes.
In this movie. I haven't seen this movie. Yes, the uncle from Harry Potter's in it.
Yes.
Even Ian McDermott.
Yes.
We got the Emperor Palpatine in this fucking movie. This movie is awesome.
It's so good. It's as soon as people are like, oh, I don't really watch scary movies, I'm like, watch Silence of the Lambs and Sleepy Hollow. Those are the two I always say. It's so amazing. And it's still got that sprinkle of comedy because of Johnny Depp.
Yes.
It's still got that, he's so awkward.
His eccentric acting.
Yes.
And for once, you got Christopher Walken, who's playing he plays villain before.
Yes.
But he plays a very convincing villain in this movie, who's creepy and scary. He follows his teeth down. And his visuals. This is just one of his best works.
It's so good.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It's creepy. It's got a horror feel to it. It's based on a horror story.
Yes.
Sleepy Hollow. I gotta stop before we do it already.
I was gonna say I'm gonna keep talking about it.
We gotta stop for next episode.
Oh my gosh!
So
yeah.
Tune in next
week. Yes.
Sleepy Hollow. Watch it. Enjoy it before us, so we can be refreshed and ready for the greatness of this movie.
Yes. And thank you this week, everybody, for joining us. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at the Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at Gasm Horror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week because we have such sights to show you and plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience. Bye!